So this video is mostly about the flooring. I used FexiTeek from a company in Florida, bought it straight from them. I learned how to weld it with my welder and laid it down, and hope it's informational. I'm laying out the floor pieces. They're 15 foot, 2 inches long, and they go up in the salon in the walkway of the main cabin. So what I've done is I laid out, of course, a workbench here. And I laid out aluminum, cleaned it all real good so that when I lay my pieces, because these get seam welded together with a heat gun. So you lay the finish face down, which is representative here. And then you butt these seams up, and then you run a heat gun with a little tube right down them and melt them together so they get heat sealed. So I need to make a piece that's roughly 38 inches wide and 15 foot long. So I'm laying them out so they kind of start to level themselves instead of being curled like this. So this is the weld pieces that you use. This is the electric heat gun. And it goes up to like 1,000 degrees. So the trick is, of course, is regulating heat and not melting through the material. And you can see there's a little profile here. So when they lay together, there's a little groove. So one of the other important things, of course, is making sure that this butts up razor tight. So I'm getting my heavyweight pieces of aluminum so that I lay them together to hold them in place. So I got a couple pieces laid out here that I'm going to do my first joint. So you can see I've weighted it all down. Try and get it so it all lays right together. So I'm trying to make sure that I don't get any seam in between, all right? So I got my gun heating up. I tried a couple test patterns, wherever they may be. So I welded that, and then take my knife and just trim it. So I'm putting number 6 on, and you can see the welds. I trim it off. That's the trimmings. So I got this one laid out, the weld, this little weld piece. It's 1/8 inch. So I'm welding it down in the center first. Then I'm coming back and I'm putting one on each side. I have plenty of material. I have a heavier rod that I used here and it worked really good, but I need it for my deck. So I can't use it all up, but it proved that I needed to put 3 of these in to do it. So the only problem is I got a lip here, and if I don't push it down, it's not even. But I'm doing, so far on the other side, it looks very good. So I have the strips welded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's 15 foot, 2 inches long. And I'm pretty happy with the way the seams come out. So this is a seam here. And of course, seam and a seam. Little bit of a hot spot right there. So I'll take a little sandpaper, 80 grit, and just hit that little hot spots, and they go right away. But she is welded, and it ain't coming apart. This table is 12 foot long that I work on. So tomorrow I put the pattern on top of it and start whittling. I got the 15 foot 2 inch floor pattern cut out. So those are hatches there. And I got the pieces down on the floor. So it's all fit and ready to put the glue down. I'm going to glue the first half, so I'm going to glue from right here forward, but I got to weight all this so that it doesn't move. So I'll get it all weighted down and start throwing glue at it. I went and picked up the 2 Suzuki 350s. So stacked them in there. They're like 7 foot 6 long crates. And 4 foot high or so. So I'm welding the gray deck king material down. So I start it by just getting it a little bit warm and applying it, and then just pulling through and just keeping a little bit of a edge on the gray, melting edge, and sticking the black with just a little pressure in it. You just see a little bit of a lip that sticks out on the gray. And I got my black welding tube, the tube that's going through the nozzle of the heat gun. I got it on a roll behind me in my vise on a pipe, so I can just pull it off as I need it. Makes it really handy that way, as it turns out. I'm running the machine approximately 600 to 650 degrees. And this is just a cheapy electric welder for any flooring or any plastic projects. I got it off, I think, eBay, made in China. I think it was like 55 bucks a couple of years. I've had it for 4 or 5 years now. I got it so I can make my spools to roll my rope up out of plastic HDPE spools, electrical cable. And I just cut them to what I want and then weld them back together. You know, they don't rust. They don't come apart once you weld them. You can notice all the weights I had to keep this material flat against the plywood. You can see there's a seam right there, so every 4th line is a seam. I've already trimmed those with a knife. And that's it. Turn the heat off, let it cool. And I'll come back and trim it when it's cool. Okay, so I'm going to trim it. So that's it. And then if you want to take and blend it a little, I got this real heavy, it's 60 grit emery, 50 grit actually. And it gives it that furry fluff look back. This knife makes a real nice with that half moon. So that appears to be all there is, and that's pretty durable there. So I've been seam welding the gray, and I got 2 more pieces to put on. I just put this piece on and trimmed it. It's 9'2" right now, and I got to be 10 foot wide. I got 2 more pieces to go on, and then I can put it on the ground and set the pattern on it. So I actually finished. I glued up all the gray aft deck flooring. So that's the hatch. So there's a access hatch to storage, and then the fish box along here. That's the pattern I'd made. So I had some pieces left over, and I have a strip about 14 foot long. So I am going to make a section, and what I did was I just took a knife and edged this to match like it was the profile. I'm going to weld that together. That's the piece I cut out that I'll use on the hatches. And so I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my jewelry off, my shiny stuff, and I think I'm going to put the same material on the gunnel here, and I'm going to make it right from this aluminum edge all the way to this crown here, and I'll just sand this paint off. It's going to be a little work, but that's all right. So I got my seams caulked. So the black, and I got a little goof up in the corner I'm going to tend to, but this is still wet. But got that all caulked. So the black seams all the way around. This is where the fridge goes. I got to add just a couple of sacrificial pieces here so that the feet of the fridge sit on level. But got that done. Mama got her cushions stored down there. What else? So here in a bit, I'm gonna tape a piece of plastic over this doorway, and I'm gonna come out here and with my sander and get an aggressive 50 grit on this aluminum. I want it really scuffed up so that that mastic sticks to it real good. I started a little bit here, and but I don't want it going into my cabin area. But yeah, I'm gonna sand the crap out of it and get it really aggressive. But yeah, that pieces I'm gonna make that are down there are gonna go up here. I just figured this is it'd be great. Take a little of the tinniness away, and I know that this paint's gonna get beat up from halibut weights and whatnot. So I'll use it up. Mako. We got the gray flooring down. The hatches are just sitting, but that side's all glued off. And we just glued this, so it's all weighted down. Make sure it all sticks. It'll be hardened up tomorrow, then I'll do these hatches. So showing the video of the floor. So I caulked all the seams with Marine Tech caulk, and it's a Sika 291. So you can see where I didn't put it up to the edge. That's so water, that's a trough, that's a drain right there. But it has scuppers all the way down, and it actually drains. There's a drain all the way through out the aft end here. But this is the gray floor. Of course, it's filthy right now, and I have cardboard over it, but I got to clean it. So all the hatches are glued down. I'm going to caulk the face edges of these hatches with that same black Marine Tech. But that's the aft deck, and that's coming in. We use the teak with the black strip, and I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna get some dark brown oil-based paint, and I'm just gonna paint all that aluminum that's shiny underneath there to kind of hide that on the lip. But so the hatches, that's my hidden hatch that I designed. The hinges. So you can see that's down the bottom of the boat down there. And that's where all the batteries reside. That's my next effort, is I move that one aluminum bar that's down there. That comes out. It just has a nut and bolt holding it at each end. Take the covers off, then I set my batteries down in the boxes. And there's a bilge pump down underneath there. That bar that's on the right is cable management. That bar right there, that'll be where my 4/0s come off my batteries and go up. And my front electrical board is way up underneath there to be mounted. But when I'm done, this gets, that bar that's there, right there, it gets removed, well, like I say, while I'm putting batteries in. Then I put it back, and then I got a piece of aluminum that goes right over top all that. That way I can crawl down in there, I can sit and work. The water system is underneath this cover right here. That's where all the water pump and filter is. And you can see that's the wiring for the bilge pump. It's got to be brought up, and then that's the bilge pump discharge hose. Got to be brought up and fit up through, and with a hole knocked out the side. But floor's done. That's the pedestal for the dinette table. And got my RayMarine Ray 73 with AIS DSC. Got all the cabling all fairly cleaned up. Amazing how many cables. My mic's on a magnetic holder, so I don't have to fumble around trying to latch it. Working on my console, I've made sure everything fitted in here from my 12-inch screen. I had a notch out for just one cable connection. AM, FM, Bluetooth controller, of course, gauges for all the systems, bilge pump switches. So I had put these acorn nuts because what I did was I secured wire management, these wire tie. Some of them I could hide, but I couldn't hide them all, but I wanted to make sure I have enough wire management to loom everything. This is my emergency secondary VHF radio. And just held on, so if you need it, pull it off. When you don't need it, just clip it up in place there. So yeah, I've been working on getting ready to put some stuff in here and starting to put systems together.